Falcons and the Lions OTAs and off-season workouts. How has Desmond Ridder progressed? What are the Lions looking for this offseason with their defense? Are they going to be way better this year? Kick it off with Enter the Lab podcast.
Now let's get to it, man. Let's talk about my Lions, minicamp, OTAs, everything that's going on so far. Been hearing a lot of great things coming out of minicamps. The best news, though, so far has been there's been relatively no major injuries. Injury-free, that's where you want to be. Just a few scrapes and bruises here and there, but we're relatively in good shape going into the offseason. David Montgomery, Emmanuel Mosley, and Malcolm Rodriguez were held out of this latest minicamp. But all we're doing work on the sideline, and all are expected to be back by training camp. Let's get right to it. Who impressed? Two rookies especially. Jahmyr Gibbs, you know the guy we drafted at 12, started all the hysteria. He's doing his thing out there. They're calling him the next Alvin Kamara. He's been showcasing his speed, playmaking ability all over the field. He's being used in the slot at the wide receiver position and also the running back spot. He's seeing a larger number of reps because, as I referenced earlier, David Montgomery has not been participating in this minicamp. Ben Johnson, the OC, has lauded this guy as a weapon and says this offense can take it to another level with a home run threat like Jahmyr Gibbs. Also want to highlight Sam Laporta. I know a guy that I thought we could definitely get in the third round, but hey, we took him early in the second round. Hey, he's turning heads. He continues to impress with his catching prowess and has the ability to get open and make plays after the catch. He's also gotten extended reps because there is the absence of James Mitchell, who's also out and did not participate in the latest mini camp. He looks to be a very, very, very vital weapon in the short to intermediate area in this offense. There was a bit of concern this past week with Jamison Williams. Again, he hasn't had the ideal offseason. We know about him being suspended 6 games for gambling. We know about him having basically a redshirt year last year due to his injuries. So far, he's still having some inconsistencies on the field. He hasn't really connected with Jared Goff consistently. The timing is not there, and he has been dealing with the issue of drops. His latest round of inconsistent practices actually led to a scathing report or a story that was put into the Detroit Free Press by Carlos Monarez, who basically called into question his consistency and felt that he may need a mentor or guidance. Carlos hinted at him possibly going down a self-destructive path. I think Carlo was a little bit off base here. There definitely is some, reasons for concern here, but it's still very early. We're talking about a gentleman who's 22 years old, again, coming off a major injury and has had a major adjustment in his life, going from a college student to now an NFL player. I don't think we're ringing the alarms yet, but he's young and hopefully he'll get the chance to learn on the job. He is currently running with the tools as he has been the whole offseason. So hopefully he works, during this offseason. He gets it together and comes back ready to compete, during camp because eyes are definitely going to be on him. And again, he was the guy who was drafted 12th in the first round. We traded up to get him. We expected an impact similar to Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, Garrett Williams, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, those guys of that ilk. We know he wasn't going to do it last year, but we expected him to kind of show those signs this year. We aren't seeing them yet. But again, we look forward to camp because he's definitely going to be spotlighted. With that said, we're 87 games out from the season. Hey, man, these spaces are getting nasty out here. Y'all remember, man, the season will be here before you know it. Stay classy, man. Remember to stay classy, my friends, in these spaces. See him, we out. Holla back.
But let's jump into them Falcons. So I had the opportunity to go actually to the public viewing to go see my Falcons actually practice for OTAs. And when I tell you the excitement for the A is there. Desmond Ridder looks sharp. He looks good. He looks great. He put on the weight. The ball has zip. He's setting his feet. He is doing everything that I would expect a quarterback going into year 2, even though this is still technically his rookie season, to actually be able to do. He's learning the offense. He's getting comfortable with the ones, and we're going to see a lot more. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on him when it comes down to training camp. Shout out to Tyler Heineke. He was doing amazing as well. Balls looked great. He looked like he had control of the huddle, and he's getting very well acclimated with the team. So I can't wait to see them two battling out. But shout out to our backups too, because they was holding it down. I like that. I like that we can pretty much rely on a lot of people just in case that number one goes down. This the NFL. You got to make sure that you have a backup to your backup. Okay. So, and then all the excitement and hype for Bijan was exactly what everybody in the Atlanta Falcons organization and fan base was expecting. We lined Bijan out up to the outside, and trust me, the whole stadium went crazy to know that is in Arthur Smith's arsenal to do that. Bijan is a very versatile player, and they had him all over the field. Trust me, Atlanta coming, y'all. Now, I'm going to say this as a disclaimer. I do not think that we're going to make a deep run into the playoffs, but I expect us to get to the playoffs. Now, in 2024, holla at your girl, because we coming for everybody, Nick. I'm putting that down. It's on the recorded. So line it up, get it ready. We coming for everybody, Nick, in 2024. This year, just be on the lookout. We might make some surprises. Defense looked it great. I love it. We were missing a couple of key players, but again, Grady's still Grady. That is our Grady Jarrett. He's still Grady. And on top of that, Jeff looked at chef kiss amazing. Trust me, this defense is something that I am so excited to see. I am ready to see. This has been a pain in the Falcons' thorns for years. Did we finally get Grady help? Did we finally sit over here and make the offseason acquisition and make the changes that we need to push our defensive forward? I really think we did. So again, we're going to be bumping heads, though, with the Miami Dolphins in training camp. So this is really going to be the test for this team. Preseason, be on the lookout for us. But when we come back to enter the lab, best believe I'm going to be at training camp almost every day with them notes because, baby, I'm going to let all of y'all know what the Atlanta Falcons are trying to do and what they finna do. So I love y'all. See y'all soon. Trust me, them Falcons is coming, honey. Okay? Mwah.
We also look at OTAs and minicamp. They're about to wrap up. But has EB truly taken control of all the training duties? And is Ron just sitting back relaxing? We also talk about the standouts. We have Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, Emmanuel Forbes, Quan Martin, and much more. Stick around. It's only the Huddle podcast.
We also just finished up minicamp and OTAs. I think we're going to see a lot more as we enter into the off-season program in terms of training camp. So, don't forget, man, look up your boy Emmanuel Forbes. He's balling out there. You got Sam Howell, who's trying to prove himself as a late round pick, overlooked, a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, but dude's a baller, calm, cool, and collective. Will it be, enough to convince everyone by week one? We'll see. Then you got EB. EB said in his introductory press conference, why not Washington? You have all this offensive firepower. You got all this history. You got all this excitement. You got a new ownership group. Why not Washington? And so he's instilling his offense for the first time that he is in control of. And so this is something that he's proven to the world to see. All the times he's been looked over for head football coach. Why is that? When we listen to him talk, we listen to the command that he has over the huddle and over the room. I can't believe he was a bad interview. Something else is going on there. Because this dude is exactly who you want as a football coach. So, what's going on there? So much to look forward to out of OTAs and mini camps. And hey, stay tuned, man. You got a lot going on in Commander's world.
Going forward with OTAs and minicamp, so far so good with everything's been going on. The biggest thing I took away from this process has been Eric Bieniemy. We've been talking to Spaces. He has been one of the biggest accusation in this offseason. He has instilled his confidence. He has instilled his whole financial, not even financial, but he has instilled his culture into the Washington Commanders offensive room. You see him every day cussing out the players, attention to details, being strict about timing, going fast. These are things that has been lacking on this team for a while now. And yes, we heard Ron Rivera say go fast past couple years, but I think it's a new mentality. It's about taking this as a business like. So we're seeing EB establishing his culture on the offensive side. We're seeing Sam Howell, he has his days up and down, but that's what you want in a young quarterback. You want to see him get the reps. And so far, from what I've been hearing, there has been days, majority of the time, he has looked like QB1. So for right now, he got the job right now. We'll get to see more opportunity when training camp comes around and we get to see him play against the Baltimore Ravens. And the defense has been balling out once again. Obviously, the most continuity on that side. Emmanuel Forbes and Quan Martin, them guys have looked apart, looking for that secondary to be way better. And we'll get to see them get tested this offseason and the regular season when September 10th comes around against the Arizona Cardinals.
As far as OTAs, let's talk about this OTA thing for a second. So I was privileged enough to be able to go to OTAs in person and see the Commanders, and let me just talk about what I saw. And I was there at OTAs, not the mandatory portion, so I was not able to see, Chase Young and Montez Sweat and Charles Leno. I think the day I went there, a few lower tier guys missed with injuries. Cool, right? From what I saw at OTAs, as far as the Commanders are concerned, to me, Sam Howell is clearly, QB1. I know some people have said stuff like Jacoby seems more consistent, but Sam is clearly more talented. No, I think Sam is the best quarterback on the roster by far. I think something has to go dramatically wrong for Sam Howell to not be the starting quarterback week one when we play Arizona. It's like when I saw. Granted, I don't know the play calls. I don't know the reads. I don't know his progression. I don't know any of that stuff. I know a lot of football, but without being in those huddles and those meetings, I don't actually know what he's supposed to be doing. But just what I saw, Jacoby Brissett did look kind of slow on a lot of his reads. Look late on a lot of his reads. I don't know if that's by design or what. But even throwing motion, like the ball just jumps out of Sam Howell's hand, and it doesn't do that for Jacoby. I think Jacoby is great in his role as a backup quarterback, and I think he'll be great in his role as a backup quarterback here. But to me, Sam Howell is clearly the number one quarterback. As far as the skill positions with us, man, I was excited at what I saw with Eric Bieniemy doing with the offense, where it looked like he wanted to at least the top 3 or 4 guys kind of all moved around. So there was no like, okay, he's an X, he's a Z, this guy's in the slot. There was not that. Like, so you saw everybody line up outside on both sides of the ball. On both sides of the offense, the formation. Excuse me. You saw everybody line up in the slot. You saw Terry in the slot. You saw Jahan in the slot. You saw Curtis in the slot. I saw Diami working both, but everybody worked everywhere. And a lot of times I saw 2-back sets with primarily Gibson and Brian Robinson. There were times where I saw both of them both flexed out wide, a wide receiver. Like the offense is going to look night and day from last year. Like Eric Bieniemy's creativity and his planning for this offense is a night and day based on what I saw the last few years, and even in person at games and in practice with Scott Turner. And then defensively, I'm crazy excited defensively. Chase Young is back, and I think he's healthy. I know some people still have cause for concern. I get it. Cool, fine. I think Chase Young is back. Montez Sweat is going to be Montez Sweat again. The interior of the defensive line, as far as Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, is the front 4 is locked and loaded. We ready to go. The linebacking core, we learned last year, you never really know. But I don't think they're going to lose a step by replacing Cole Holcomb with Cody Barton. I don't think that's going to be a huge loss. Jamin is still working his way back from off-season knee surgery, but I think he'll continue his upward trend as far as, kind of where he was at to start and finish last season. And then we'll see how the rest of the linebacker position shakes out. Where I'm most excited, not just on defense, but the entire team, is the secondary. Now, we all know Derek Forrest default comes downhill with the best of them. He's coming down with bad intentions, trying to hurt people, and can't do that in OTAs and minicamp. They weren't doing that. I don't want nobody to see this and report us, and we get in trouble. Nope, wasn't happening. But we know once they put the pads on, it will happen. Cam Curl was kind of off to the side a little bit, but we all, as Commanders fans, we've seen Cam Curl. We know what Cam Curl is. We know what Jeremy Reeves is. Boom, we good right there with safety. The cornerbacks, when we talk about Kendall Fuller, Benjamin St-Juste, the first-round draft pick Emmanuel Forbes, and even Quan Martin, the second-round pick, I guess them being the kind of the top 4 guys, all of them dudes were locking up our receivers a lot in practice. Like, granted, it's Terry McLaurin, it's Jahan Dotson, it's Curtis Samuel. Like, they gonna go get the football, but that secondary look like they ready to not just cover well, but to create, force, and generate turnovers all season. Like, them dudes jumping routes on Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, who are not just the best 2 route runners on the team, but among from what I consider some of the best route runners in the league. I mean, this team, man, I think it's the way it's trending. Eric Bieniemy is going to have the offense is going to be strictly on EB. No input, no, hey, you should try this, you should do this. Nah, it's EB or nothing with the offense. And the defense is back where they finished off last season, getting at the people and putting people in the dirt, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, it's to the mandatory portion of camp. So the people who skip voluntary workouts, me personally, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's voluntary OTAs, and you can volunteer yourself out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't trip off of that. Once it's mandatory, everybody showed up, everybody looked ready and healthy, and everybody was working. So I'm excited for the season, man. I can't wait till camp. It would be nice to you know, announce some days so we know we can kind of plan ahead, because it's fast, it's quickly approaching. Outside of the I guess week we're gonna be going up with the Ravens, leading up to the second or third preseason. I think there's a second preseason game, leading up towards that. But yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm itching, man. I can't wait. It's football season. It's right around the corner, and I think anybody that's still sleeping on the Commanders, I'm not finna say nothing crazy like, oh, the Commanders gonna be in this game or we gonna win it. I'm not going that far, but I will say, anybody that's sleeping on the Commanders, y'all might want to wake up before you get woke up out that sleep in the worst way possible. Be ready to work. HTTC, baby. The Commanders, we here. We here.
It won't be long. Along with the revamped website, Red Zone and the Lab podcast store will be up soon. Please visit rzinthelab.com and subscribe to emails so you can be notified when it's live and receive a special discount.